everybody, welcome to another week of Ground and Pound Show. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Sean.
My name is Craig.
And we are here to talk about a lot of stuff, Craig. Last weekend, UFC Denver, 25 years of fighting, and we couldn't have asked for a better couple of fights.
What a fucking night, man.
Great
Jesus.
night, great night.
A lot of great fights.
Yeah.
Obviously, Macy Barber with a bloody win over Hannah Cyphers. His favourite woman.
His girlfriend, of course.
She's the future champ, obviously. She has her countdown still going until she
20 years of age,
yeah, 3 more years left in her countdown until she can become the youngest ever UFC champion and beat John Jones' record.
That's plenty of time. 3 years, plenty of time.
She put in a great performance there the other night and then called out Mackenzie Dern afterwards. The Jiu-Jitsu black belt, you know, she's a scary motherfucker too, like.
Macy Barber, fantastic performance for herself.
Fucking insane.
And then our co-main event, of course, Platinum Mike Perry taking on the Cowboy Donald Cerrone. A fantastic build up to this fight. I was really looking forward to it. I thought it was going to be an all-out war, but it didn't deliver on what a magnificent fight we expected it to be. But a very smart fight from Donald Cerrone. A brilliant performance. He's looked the best I've seen him in a couple of years, a hell of a long time. And well, listen, a fantastic fight from him. He now comes off that win with a load of records, most finishes and most wins in UFC history. So big props to Cowboy.
Absolutely insane. I mean, 100% future Hall of Famer, and what a great finish over Mike Perry. Mike Perry came out aggressively. He took Cowboy down. Cowboy managed to reverse the position, got on top, and then locked in an armbar, and Mike Perry tapped, and that was all she wrote.
Yeah,
obviously,
absolutely.
Cowboy brought his baby in afterwards. It was really emotional. It was.
I was so happy about that because I thought it might have been he won and then did a bit of a stupid like I hate Winklejohn and going mad at him the whole time. But
he took the high road, man.
Took the high road.
Great.
It was brilliant. Winklejohn did not take the high road after. He then took himself over onto social media. I'm not sure where he did this. I think it was Instagram.
Yeah.
And he spewed off this massive rant. He called Cowboy a cancer. He said, "Where were you the last 10 years helping out in the gym?" He then also criticised Platinum Mike Perry, his own fighter. So I think sooner or later he's going to have his entire gym walk out on him, and the only reason that they have any sort of a name in the country at the moment is because of John Jones, and if it wasn't for John Jones fighting for them, they'd be down a long time ago. Moving on to the main event, Craig, what the hell happened?
Fucking Korean Zombie.
Oh my god.
Rodriguez.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
1 second left.
Wow.
1 second left. Wow. It was unbelievable, Craig. We were watching it live. It was superb. The fight in general. We thought it was going to be a decision for Korean Zombie. He was on ahead on points. But then, listen, it ain't over till it's over, Craig. 1 second left of the fight. Unbelievable.
He joins Frankie Edgar now as the latest finish in UFC. Sorry, not Frankie Edgar. Demetrius Johnson, the latest finish in UFC history. 1 second to go. Boom. Backwards elbow, man. He landed it. Knocked Korean Zombie out. Korean Zombie, as I said, was up on 2 of the judges' scorecards. He was winning the fight. He probably was going to win the fight. Went to the distance. It's a testament to Korean Zombie. He could have held out for the decision, an extra 10 seconds.
Oh my god. Superb fight, Craig, and after the fight Yair was thanking Cowboy himself for doing his camp with him, and he also thanked Cowboy for that exact back elbow thing.
He said he was looking at him training in training camp, and he pulled it off in the fight, and it was insane. And knockout of the year, probably one of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen.
Definitely
probably
one of the
top 5
craziest
knockouts I've ever seen in my entire life, man. It was fucking insane.
Unbelievable. Big ups to the UFC for 25 years of fighting, which brings us on, Craig.
Thanks so much.
Which brings us on to this part of the show. We're going to list our top 5 moments in UFC history, okay? Now bear in mind, Craig's been watching the sport for a lot longer than me. I'm going to go bang for bang. Craig, you started.
Number 5, I have Holly Holm, KO and Ronda Rousey. That was crazy. I remember watching that live. I couldn't believe it. Ronda Rousey, pioneer wins MMA, knocked the fuck out by Holly Holm.
In at number 5 for me, Craig, just happened last weekend. Yair Rodriguez knocks out Korean Zombie with 1 second left. It was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen since I started watching the sport.
I don't blame you.
Big ups, it makes my top 5.
Number 4 then, I have a Matt Serra defeated George St. Pierre. The 5'9" Matt Serra coming in to this fucking welterweight championship. He's actually the biggest underdog in UFC history, and he beat George St. Pierre that night and won the belt. And it was insane. It was crazy.
Absolutely crazy. And not even by jiu-jitsu, which you would think Matt Serra would win the fight by a knockout. Stephen Bonner versus Forrest Griffin is in at number 4 for myself. Obviously, UFC in the Zuffa era, they were on their knees. They were almost about to go out of business pretty much at this stage until one last gasp. They showed the UFC fighter out of their own money. They paid for their own camera crews and everything like this and just pitched it completely made to the television company. And in the final, it was unbelievable. Everyone started ringing up people saying, you got to tune in, you got to watch the final of The Ultimate Fighter. Two men absolutely killed each other out there for the sport, and two absolute legends of the sport. An absolute phenomenal match and a phenomenal moment.
For number 3 then, I have when Anderson Silva defeated Chael Sonnen in their first fight. Anderson Silva being beat up for 4.5 rounds, he comes back against arm triangle on Chael Sonnen, man. If Chael Sonnen won that fight, who knows what could have happened. Anderson Silva wouldn't have had his fucking legacy, his insane title run. A lot of shit would have been different in MMA, but fucking he pulled through and got the win, and that's huge. That was huge in UFC, I think.
Absolutely crazy. And then number 3 for me also features that man Anderson Silva, and also features a crazy surprise. It's when Chris Weidman knocked him out and ended his legendary title reign. While Anderson Silva was doing his ducky shit, he then thought he faked getting hit, and then he actually got hit pretty hard, and he got knocked out.
Obviously, for my number 2 then, I have, as Sean had for his number 4, Forrest Griffin vs Stefan Bonner, Ultimate Fighter finale, number 1. It was just a huge turn point for the UFC, and it really elevated to the sport it is now, you know, brought from that barbaric stage to an actual worldwide sport.
Absolutely. Crazy stuff. And speaking of crazy stuff, my number 2 was one of the first UFC events I'd watched live, and it was one of the McGregor cards, and it was Robbie Lawler taking on Rory McDonald. Unbelievable fight, an absolute war, just watching two men kill each other for that welterweight title. And one of my favourite fights of all time, one of my favourite moments of all time, is the two of them looking down each other, covered in blood, Rory's nose crushed into his skull, and beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Really shows what MMA is all about, you know. And for number 1, I have UFC 1. Hoist Gracie comes in his white gi, man. Little 170 pound guy, fucking Brazilian. Gracie run with his family, huddling up, you know. He comes in, he beats these big motherfuckers. He beats a boxer with 1 gloves. He beats fucking a kickboxer. He beats a judoka, man. Beats fucking 3 guys the same night and becomes the ultimate fighter, man. And jiu-jitsu is put on the map, and UFC is put on the map. And without UFC 1, there would be no MMA.
In at number 1 for me was the most shocking thing I'd ever seen in my entire life live in the flesh. It was Conor McGregor knocking Jose Aldo out in 13 seconds. I'd followed him all through my secondary school days as he was coming up, and he was the next big star, and the entire country was behind him. He was the most captivating, entertaining man. We were watching it happen live. We felt like we were witnessing greatness, and he obviously got into Jose Aldo's head. Jose ran out, got slipped,
Stashed him, man, with left hand, 13 seconds.
13 seconds, Conor McGregor, new featherweight champion, undisputed. It was absolutely magnificent. That's my favourite moment of UFC history.
This weekend, the UFC heads down to Buenos Aires in Argentina for its first ever card in that country. Headlining the event is Arab man Neil Magny, man, number 8 ranked welterweight. He's taking on number 10th ranked man Santiago Ponzinibbio, half Brazilian, half Argentinian. That's the main event of the evening. That should be a good fight. Neil Magny's a bit of a gatekeeper of the welterweight division as well, you know. So we'll see how Ponzinibbio gets on there. Co-main event then, we have a featherweight brawl. Ricardo Lamas taking on Darren the Damage Elkins. That should be a good fight, I think, man. I think it's going to be a bit of a boxing / grappling affair, so I'm looking forward to that one.
We have a lot of strange news happening this week. First, just when we get it out of the way, next weekend is going to be something that doesn't really deserve that much news, but Tito Ortiz will be taking on Chuck Liddell for the 3rd time. It's going to be a terrifying fight, but I'm absolutely going to watch it.
Tito Ortiz has 5 brain cells to his name.
He also thinks he's 34 years of age when he's 43, as he said on his interview with Brendan Schaub the other day.
Chuck Liddell looks terrible in any type of training video I've seen. He just looks so fucking drawn out and sloppy and slow, and jeez, I don't want to. This shouldn't happen.
Listen, forget about it.
Let's not talk about it.
One thing we can't forget about, though, Craig, what everyone wants to keep forgetting about, but it keeps on coming back and annoying us, is this rising fight between Floyd Mayweather and your boy Tennis man.
Tenshin Nasukawa.
Tension man.
Yes, this fight is back on apparently now, but it's not a fight. It's an exhibition, a 3-round exhibition.
Originally what Floyd thought he was getting himself in for.
This is what he thought he was, fighting in front of some billionaires and turning into an actual fight. But this time it is going to be a 3-round, 3-minute exhibition. And it's going to be under boxing rules apparently. So Mr. Undefeated Kickboxer Tenshin Nasukawa will not be allowed to throw any kicks. So it's interesting to see. I wonder if he'll even be allowed to watch it. Like, you know, it might be behind closed doors and Floyd will come out and say, we just moved around, something like that, you know. But Floyd's looked at the highest paid exhibition in history, and you know, he's probably right.
This week we have a lot of fight rumours, a lot of stuff to get very excited about, a lot of stuff that has raised my daisy up, if you know what I'm saying. First up, we have the rumour of Justin Gaethje taking on Sir Anthony Pettis, Showtime himself. It's going to be crazy. Anthony Pettis coming off a loss against Tony Ferguson in that absolute war. Justin Gaethje, after knocking out James Vick in a horrendous fashion, it was absolutely beautiful. The most entertaining man, two of the most entertaining men in UFC finally getting on. I can't bloody wait to watch that fight, Craig. What about you?
Oh, that's gonna be a fucking throwdown, man.
Barn burner, isn't that what they call
Barn
it?
burner,
Barn
man.
burner.
Justin Gaethje that never stops coming forward. Andy Pettis, like, he was insane in that last fight with Tony Ferguson, man. It was a shame that fight had to end early, man. But it'd be interesting to see how Andy Pettis comes back after he broke his knuckles in the last fight.
Absolutely, yeah.
So we'll see how he gets on.
They're targeting that for early next year, but I don't think it'll be January because elsewhere in January on the UFC 233 card, they're looking to book at the moment Mr. Tyron Woodley against Mr. American Badass Colby Covington.
Finally.
Mr. Make America Great Again. Listen, man, I'm looking forward to seeing that fight. Great. Just the other day we got the news, massive rumour. It's becoming more and more realistic every single day. Apparently the contracts haven't been just signed yet, but everything is almost finalised. It looks like we're going to see for the first time in 4 years, back into the UFC octagon, Nick Diaz. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be beautiful. Of course, he was facing an 18-month suspension originally for marijuana in his system. Then a USADA suspension for 3 times failing to turn up to the USADA test.
Fuck USADA, man.
So he obviously doesn't like them too much, but he's now cleared to fight, and he will be fighting apparently Jorge Masvidal early next year.
I love
looks
this
fantastic.
fight, man.
Yeah,
I love this
absolutely
fight.
brilliant.
Jorge Masvidal, known for his bare knuckle brawls in the streets of Florida, man. And Nick Diaz, known for being a fucking certified badass.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a fucking stand and bang
Barn
brawl,
burner.
man. Another barn burner, man.
burner.
2 bad motherfuckers, 2 gangsters, 2 trash talkers. I love every aspect of this fight, man. 2 G's.
We got in contact with Mr. Tom Downs. He messaged the page. Thank you very much for
Oh,
getting
yeah,
in touch
that's right.
on Instagram at Ground and Pound Show. He was saying, Craig, I know it's not MMA related, but it kind of is MMA related, Tom, because this Sunday, the scheduled fight to take place at Survivor Series, a WWE pay-per-view, was a fight between the brands, Raw, the brand, and SmackDown, the brand, where they face each other's champions, okay? So Ronda Rousey, former UFC Women's Champion, is now the WWE Women's Champion for Raw, the red brand, and she's taken on Becky Lynch, who's from our country. She's from Dublin.
From the Emerald Isle.
And Becky's the champion of SmackDown, the other brand, and the two of them are going to fight each other. But on Raw, the television show that Brock Lesnar was also featured on the other day, out comes Miss Becky Lynch to invade the show. So she attacks everyone. She attacks Ronda Rousey, but she gets a big punch in the eye by one of the wrestlers who's not good.
Big knife jacks.
A big girl who's not good at. She's not safe at all. She doesn't.
She hurts people.
Yeah,
like,
she doesn't do the moves properly. She's like 4th or 5th time she's done this to a girl. She almost killed Charlotte twice.
True.
And she just punched Becky right in the face and broke her nose and gave her concussion. So Becky has been pulled from that fight this Sunday at Survivor Series, but they will get it on, I'd say, at WrestleMania. And hell, man, that is some fight. That is really exciting
first
stuff.
ever women's headliner at WrestleMania.
And they closed out the show. It was really exciting stuff to watch. So thank you.
Women's
to Becky
wrestling is
Lynch.
really on the come up.
It's on the up and up, as is women's fighting, man.
Yeah, true. They're
got
both coming up together, man.
Shevchenko, soon,
that's going to be a great fight. Nunez, Cyborg.
It's going to be crazy.
2 huge fights in women's fighting.
So that's almost it, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. You can follow us on Instagram at Ground and Pound Show, at O'Haragram, at Gareth_Sweeney, at Donald Sean Carey, at Matthew Lenny. Is that his freaking name, man? What's that freaking guy's name? We'll be back next week with more MMA news and doing some Instagram live stories and all that shit.
Time for some Ground and Pound.
Or the Glasgow package.
1, 2, 3, yeah!